Break down the awkwardness. Put on my boots and a lily white dress.
All right. So
Here we are.
Here we are. This is a place I've never been before. Where are we, Charles?
We're in like my second home. We're in beautiful downtown Raleigh. I don't know if y'all can see the sign, but we are over in Bittersweet. It is located in downtown Raleigh. Awesome place. They've got great pastries, cakes, cookies, sweets. One of the things that I like the most, they've got a really great gin bar, but they're not just limited to gin. They've got all kinds of really cool stuff stocked. Great place to hang out, great music. The staff is fantastic. If you're ever in downtown Raleigh and you want to just come hang out, Bittersweet, the place to be. I've got the shirt. You've seen me wear it a couple times. So
nice.
Come on down.
Now I know that's where it's from. It's like I always wondered what that T-shirt meant.
And here we are, back on the road.
So we are, what are we going to talk about today, Charles? I mean, we're here. I mean, we're out on the streets here today. What are we going to talk about?
I think a topic, we were mentioning this earlier, we're on the front lines of the Agile mindset movement of what's going on. And one of the questions that we're faced with and we have all the time is Agile getting stale or why is it stagnant? And the reason we've had this conversation is, us being on the front lines as internal coaches, we get met with quite a bit of resistance. Then you read on some of the forums, some coaches, and even some of the original founders of the manifesto saying Agile is dead. So what's up with that?
Right. So what are the challenges that we see today? I mean, talk a little bit about how do we train teams? I mean, what are certain things we touch about? I know we had this conversation in the car, so I'm trying to recap what we talked about.
So poor Richard had to hear me get on my soapbox about, my philosophy on Agile and why it's so not understood still. So to make a long story short, to take something from one of the Agile coaches here in Raleigh, RJ Heineck, is we've had a one way of building products for such a long time.
Right.
And then we enter in software in the 80s and 90s, which completely changes the paradigm of how products can be delivered. So if you look at it in context to how we used to build products and how we build products now, we're still in the infancy. If you say 2001 was when the movement started, we're only 16 years into this. So we're almost like trailblazers. We're meeting resistance with the old school way of thinking.
We're still seeing the problem.
Yes.
Okay.
We're still seeing, as much as headway as we want to make, you got to think it's an institution that has been around for a long time. It's a mindset for building that's been around for a long time. So for us who are the trailblazers, it can be very frustrating because it's like, wait, we've got this thing to Agile. We're going to use the word. A lot of people don't like using the word, but it is what it is. Agile introduces a different way to deliver a product for software.
So when we go out there and we try to coach organizations, so it's much tougher for us who are embedded in the company.
Yes.
Right, because these people employ us.
Yeah.
Right, they can't fire us at any moment in time if they don't like what we're saying.
Yeah.
Right. So we're more challenged. We have to work at a different level.
Yes.
Almost. And sometimes we are going on a limb and say, you know what, I'm going to risk my job by saying this, right? And we have to be that sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
So you talk about, how we train people, how, we give this new way of creating software.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes what I see is that the training we provide are for the folks that are doing the work, right? They are the developers.
The front line.
The front line.
Yeah.
And the fall I see is almost the levels up.
The resistance that you can get resistance on the front lines from the engineers, but from my experience, the challenges that we've had the most are usually on the middle management and even executives, where there's no understanding of it, or they don't take the time to really understand what it is that we're trying to do, or they don't trust it.
That's what it is. I think because they don't take the time to understand. I think maybe they don't care. Right. The fact that they don't care, why should I put time in it? I just pay you. You need to do your job. That's it.
I don't think it's is
that right?
I don't know. I don't think so, because if I'm an executive and maybe I'm projecting myself and I don't care how you deliver my product, then I don't see how this would fail.
So it'll be the same thing, right? So the fact that they don't understand how we deliver software in agile way, they're back to this command and control is okay, when am I going to have this software? And you're going to say, okay, the CTO, the VP of, software engineering, whatever that person is, they say, you will have it in June.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that person is not well versed in Agile and says that's a commitment,
right?
That person haven't even talked to the team, right? That's not how Agile works. That commitment is there. No matter how we work in Agile, it doesn't work because then we won't hit it.
I came up with a metaphor when we were driving over and we were talking about it that I think everybody uses the cone and all this, and it was like, it's like having a 50 caliber rifle with a target 5 miles away, and you're trying to hit a bullseye about that big.
Right.
And we've accustomed ourselves to saying that, oh yeah, executive, we're going to deliver this in June 5th, 2018. And here we are, August 28th, 29th. It's like, how do you know that?
So how do you train, how do you coach it? To me, that's the challenge that I see, is that this executives don't want to learn. They don't want to know. They just want results. They don't care how you get it. They say, you know what, it's your problem. If you tell me, because they don't want to change, right? They don't change the fact that it's a commitment.
I think that at the root of the problem, and maybe I'm going out on a limb saying this, I think at the root of the problem is that there's so much there's a lack of trust.
So how do you build that trust? In order for me to trust you, you must deliver something, right?
Yes.
And if we are not aligned in what we're going to deliver, then constantly we'll be at odds and say, you know what, I don't trust you because you're constantly not delivering what I want.
So going back to the old way of doing things is that we would give a very precise date.
Right.
We're going to deliver this thing on X. And over the years, we've been saying that very same thing. It's the very definition of insanity. We keep hitting ourselves over and over and over again. We're going to deliver on X.
Okay.
And very rarely do we ever deliver on X.
So that's the part I get confused, because I've been there, right? Making those commitments and failing on those commitments. And yet, when I approach executive and tell them, wait a minute, you've had failure constantly.
Yeah.
Your rate of failure is so high. Why would you want to do the same thing all over again? Because why not try something new?
So this is another thing, and again, this might be the soapbox. Charles is on a soapbox episode. A lot of these executives have been doing this. Executives, managers have been doing this for a long time. They only know one way to do this.
Right.
They've got their toolbox. Here comes my metaphor. They've got their toolbox, and all they've got in their toolbox is this hammer. And they're walking around, and all they're doing is, everything is a nail. Hammer, 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 hammer. You and I, we've been the nail many times as engineers. And all we're trying to do on the Agile front is not say that we have all the tools for you. It's like, hey guys, here's this screwdriver. It's a different way.
Maybe it works.
Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But you know what? We're dealing with a different beast.
So that maybe is what the difficulty that most of these executives have.
It's not a certain. They want certainty, and you can't really give them certainty.
So that explains. Kind of almost constantly we get people asking, "Well, what do you do?" And then you try to explain, "Oh, you're a project manager. Oh, you're an Agile coach. Oh, you're a Scrum Master." It's like this. Oh, yeah, you're this, fluffy people.
We're witch doctors.
We're witch doctors, right? But we're dealing with people.
Yeah.
Right. Most of what Agile is, and then I think that's where I have a hard time agreeing with some of the statements that's out there today that say that Agile is dead.
Yeah.
And the reason that they gave me is not solid enough to say that Agile truly indeed is dead, is we're dealing with people.
Yeah.
The manifesto is not a do X, Y, and Z. The manifesto is meant as a guide. Right?
Yes.
It's if you follow this guideline, and that's why I can tell you that I am not Charles. Charles can remember all 4 values and 12 principles. I don't.
Well, I don't know about the principles, but
this man is amazing. So
I got him tattooed somewhere.
What I do remember is The Heart of Agile by Alistair Coburn.
Yes.
Right? That to me speaks volume into how we look at things, right? At the end of the day is what we need to collaborate as a group of people, we deliver, and then we reflect, and then we improve. And that hits it, and that truly is the heart of it.
I agree, and I look at Coburn's Heart of Agile as the next evolution of everything. So when people say it's stale, it's stagnant, I'm like, no, it's evolving, but it's not evolving as fast as many people want it to. We're in a day and age where it's like instant gratification. This thing's going to grow. So you've got this new concept of the manifesto was 2001, and you've got the Heart of Agile, which makes a lot of sense, like you said. So when somebody tells me that Agile is dead, or it's dying, or it's stale, I look at that Heart of Agile and I say, so you're telling me that we will not collaborate, or we can't collaborate, we can't deliver, God forbid we're not going to deliver? There's no value in reflecting on how we're doing.
No time to do it.
No, there's no time to look at it improving. So you're telling me we can't do that. God, I'm sorry. That's a really bleak outlook on things. But no, I think that things like the Heart of Agile, look at Lean Startup, it's evolving right before our eyes.
So as I'm thinking this through as we're talking, is it because we're moving so fast? Is the fast pace tripping us up? Should we slow down a bit and say, take the time to reflect, take the time to find ways to improve?
I think, yes. And I think that is, so one of the principles is sustainable pace.
Right.
Not just for the work that we do, we should have a sustainable pace on how we learn.
Right.
So, take that principle into practice and then take a little bit of time to do that reflecting and improving. We don't always have to be go, go, go. If we go, 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 we're going to be stuck where we were 20 years ago.
Right. Okay. So, what else? What other problems do we see in the front line? I mean, we talk about, maybe it's not clear enough that one of the things that I see is the leadership. It all boils down on that one single person all the way to the top. If you're the CEO, it's your responsibility, because guess what? If you don't care, nobody else cares. All the way down. I mean, maybe that's what it is. It's people.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen many agile transformations, implementations go down in flames because of one person. One person doesn't have the buy-in, and it just crumbles right before you. So it's for those of you leading transformations, do you have everybody's buy-in? Are you constantly having the conversations and making sure that people see the value of what it is that you're trying to do, or what it is you're trying to transform to? Very difficult to do when you're in a very large organization, but are you aligned?
Right. So this is a really hard job that we have, right? We're dealing with people. There is no one answer for everything. There is so many combinations, and we talked about this in the call. There's too many combinations, variation, for every situation that we have.
You can't, and that's the one thing. People who are looking for a very prescriptive way to solve their problems, they're not going to find it. Especially if we're introducing the human factor.
Okay, so the human factor, is it only on the leadership, on the executive? Is it only on them? So I'm going to throw something out there, and what I have seen, and I'm starting to be bothered by it, is that it also lies on the people that are the consultants, that are teaching this, that are trying to transform people. What I'm seeing is behavior, what I call unprofessional behavior, and to jump on each other's throat based on some small comments. To say, hey, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You guys saw, because I've done this for over 50 years, and I know what I'm talking about. It's not providing constructive criticism.
I think that, not to paint a picture or paint them in their corner, I think that is maybe some of the perceptions of Agile that makes it look like it's not changing. Right. Because when you do have folks who are on the front lines who have new ideas or are trying to evolve it, you've got the institution that is Agile. The folks who've been doing it from the very beginning, they're like, no, that's not what it is, and we're going to block out these new ideas. And I challenge that and say, well, I would say to that point is that's not very Agile, as that you're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be forging forward with the trailblazers. Open up the doors. Listen to what some of the frontline folks have to say instead of infighting with each other. If we continue to infight, guess what? This movement will not move forward. But yeah, we do run into that quite a bit.
All right, how do we wrap this up?
It's a very tough wrap up, because I don't think we have the answers to this, and I don't know if anybody out there one person has the answer to it. This is almost like it's almost a cry out to the community of how do we come together and continue the movement going forward? How do we reach the leaders and the managers? And I use those two words very specifically, the leaders and the managers of the organizations to trust.
Right. So one thing that I do want to show, one of the positive things that I've seen lately is the notion of a team going in and transforming organizations, right? Because there's just multiple levels that we need to transform. You got the executive level, you got the team levels, you got middle managers. You walk in as a team, not just one person doing transformation. You need multiple different coaches at different levels attacking the problem at the same time, almost.
Yes.
Right?
And by what do you mean by multiple levels?
So a enterprise coach, we're talking at the more enterprise level. You're talking to the executive, you know.
Yeah.
And an executive may not listen to me, right? But they may listen to somebody else that has a, you know, I would say, you know, much better resume put together.
Yeah.
A much better well-known name.
Or an external coach.
An external coach, for example,
yeah.
Right? And then, you know, working as a team, employing a group of people, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Going in and tackling this problem. It's not a quick transformation. It never is quick. It takes a long time to get there. Again, like you said, I think it's more of a cry to, I would say, to the community out there, like you said, to the coaches that's out there, to the consulting firm that's out there, consultants that's out there. Share your thoughts. What do you guys see? Do you guys face the same problem we do? I believe so. We don't have all the answers.
No,
we're looking for answers. We're looking for help.
I think that we can work together as a team. For the internal coaches, there's a lot of things that the external coaches can assist with. So, like Richard was saying, an internal coach may have the pressure that you can't go talk to your executives, but as an external coach, you have instant access. So it's coming together and working as a team. Like you were saying, I like the idea of the levels is work your way from the top down, right, bottom up.
Yeah.
But the one thing we've always talked about is don't forget the middle.
Don't forget the middle, yeah.
A lot of failures happen because the middle isn't on board.
Right. And I think that's what we see some of them. Right?
Yeah.
Anything else out there? No?
I'm jumping off my soapbox.
So this has been a conversation I think probably will not be as organized as we would hope it to be.
Yeah.
It's just some random stuff that we had as we, you know, got in the car, just like everything else, we are just in time, we're very lean.
But the thing is, I think it's a topic that's big in the community, and I think a lot of coaches are talking about this, and it always helps to hear someone else like, oh yeah, you know, we've been talking about that too. Like, we're hoping we're doing a training for a Scrum team, and we're talking about a card is a promise to have a conversation. What we're hoping is that this is that promise, that spark to get a conversation going in your communities, in our community, and grow from there.
Awesome. So we'll wrap up at this point.
Absolutely.
We are reporting live, not reporting, but we are having conversation live, not live, recorded conversation from
beautiful downtown Raleigh.
Bittersweet.
Come check it out, y'all.
Come check it out, y'all. Bye.